Hello, my name is Starlight. Welcome to my YouTube channel, and I'm reaching out to all of you beautiful souls out there. I hope you're able to get out in nature like Starlight is, and as you see, this is a real background behind me. And anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, you could find me on YouTube, and that is at Starlight, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. And before I get going, I just want to make sure you're taking really good care of yourself. Be kind, don't be negative, be positive. The I am affirmations are so important. So besides that, make sure you're getting out in nature somewhere, like a beautiful hike and or a park. Go out somewhere, maybe a flower garden somewhere in your area, or travel somewhere new. And that's what happens to Starlight. I go in so many places that Starlight's like, okay, I need something different, and it's always good to find something different, something new, something fresh. So anyway, if you are new to my YouTube channel, welcome, and you can give this video a thumbs up. That is if you want to see and be that change that you want to see in the world. And it's so much better to be that change than just want to see that change, because being that change is a lot of work. It does take a lot of patience. You got to be persistent. There's so many things about being that change, and consistency is a good one, is to keep on working on yourself. And also, you can also leave a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. This is like my second time making this video. So anyway, besides leaving a message down below, is don't forget the notification bell. That way you do not miss any videos. And you can also you can also share my videos with a cat, a dog, a bird, a Taurus, a turtle, which I had in my other video. And also don't forget my playlist. And you could also check me out on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman Starlight. So here we go. I did try to make this video. I got so many minutes in, and then I had to get out of there because there was a lot of spider webs, because it was a trail that nobody's walked onto before. So it was really ruining the video as far as making this, because I kept on moving the camera around because I was breaking all these spider webs as I was going on a trail. And I just knew that, there's going to be more spiders and more spiders. So anyway, here we are. I already came through this trail, so this is not going to be too much of anything, because I already came through here. There was a Taurus out here earlier, and I did, like I said, it was running really fast. I was surprised. They say act like turtles are slow or tortoises are slow, but they're not. So anyway, today I really want to talk to you, kind of related to the video that I will be uploading tonight about something that happened the other day. So I really want to kind of talk about this topic more, because it is so important. Now, all of us have rules that we go by in our life, and like at home, you got those rules, and when you go to school, you got those rules. And when you go to your relative's house, family house, they have rules. And then the church has rules, and the government has rules, and there's rules everywhere you go. You go to the library, they got rules there that you got to go by, like being quiet, or you get kicked out. They don't want people going to, because it's a library. So anyway, I don't know how you were brought up and what you were taught as a kid. And a lot of times what you were taught as a kid, sometimes parents, including Starlight, but not really too much, is, a lot of times is as a parent, depending on who you are as a parent, is some of us, we repeat everything that our parents did to us, whether it was right or wrong, whether it was good or bad. And then we do the same thing to our kids, without even questioning any of it. Now, then there's other people that, like Starlight, is, there's some things that you learned, and you're like, yes, that was a good thing. And, you could make a list, like I mentioned in the one video not too long ago. If you took a list of all the positives and negative things that you learned from your family, some of you, your list all of you are going to have a different list. If you had, we'll say 2 books. So if you had 2 books, of one book of all the positive things and one book of all the negatives, because depending on who you are as a child or as an adult right now, is when you're a kid, there's, you might have not have known the difference, whether it was right or wrong, because you were a kid and you're just going through, being trained as a child and thinking whatever your parents were teaching you, you might have thought that is just the way parenting is, hey, I guess this is how you teach your kid, Some of you might have came from families where, like, how were you disciplined as a child? Some of you might have been stuck in the corner, put in your room, or some of you might have had things taken away from you, or you couldn't do something until later. Some parents might not even discipline their kids ever. They just let them do whatever they want. And but there's got to be a point where you got to do something, because if you, after a while, a child, will do some really, they'll test you. Children test you all the time to see what they can get away with. And you might have, set of rules, and they're always going to challenge the parents on the rules that they have at the house. They're going to see if they can break them, break those rules, just like the way people are, in the government, hey, the speed limit sign says 55, but when you take the road test, like in New York at least, if I'm correct, it says you can go, if it says 55, then they legally let you go 60, because every vehicle is different, but then I've seen a lot of people in New York State, I can say, where if it says 50 for the speed limit sign, people are actually going 60, and I've seen them go past cops and the cops don't do nothing. But then other states like Florida might be more of the stricter state as far as rules and laws go, where, they could be harder on people as far as, depending on if they know you or not. Hey, is it your buddy? Hey, we'll just chat on the side of the road and, see what's up with the family and how they're doing with their work and all that. And they might not get a ticket. But if you're an outer stater and you're in another state and then you did the same law-breaking thing that their friend did, well, then you're going to pay, you're going to get a ticket more than likely. So it's funny how this all goes. Or like a police officer, I do know this, if you're a firefighter or a nurse or somebody that, once they find out what kind of job you do, then a lot of times cops will say, hey, I'm going to let you go because, such and such, maybe it's an officer that was speeding, hey, you're an officer, I'm just going to let you go, I'm not going to fine you for that, so Starlight's got to laugh out loud on those things. So, but there's rules everywhere, and we all, maybe, at certain times might want to try to test our boundaries and see what we can get away with and whatnot. And a lot of us, like even Starlight, will do things like this. Starlight has done this a lot, is where they say ignorance is bliss, where you might see a sign and it says not to do something, but then when you get caught, you'll act like, I didn't know that, really? So Starlight's definitely falls in that category. Like, I didn't know that, man, really. I'm new here. I didn't know. So to, we're kids, that's the whole point is, I don't care how old you are, we're all a bunch of kids. We're all God's children. So, anyway, as far as the rules at your house goes, that's pretty much what I want to focus on is, like I said earlier about the list of the right and wrong things that your parents taught you. Was it right? Was it wrong? Is it things that you ended up teaching your children? Did you say, hey, like I said, every parent is different, sometimes they copy everything that their mom and dad taught them and said, hey, I'm going to teach you, sorry, it doesn't want to go back to the car, so I'm just going to go this way. So, Starlight went past the no trespassing sign. Oops. I did go past the no trespassing sign. Starlight. See, now I'm going to act ignorant. I didn't really see that. How did I not see that? So, so hey, anyway, I can't believe I did that. See, I'm good. I'm a good actress. You even probably believe it. No, actually, I really didn't know that the sign was there. How did I? Sometimes we overlook things, and that's just what happened there. I didn't even see that sign. If I knew that sign was there, I would have never gone through, but boink, Starlight's going to get a fine for it. No, I'm not going to get a fine for that. But anyway, when rules are being made, like when you have your husband and wife or boyfriend, girlfriend, and then, I don't know who the guy or girl is. Hopefully they were, hopefully they were brought up in a good way, or, like a nurturing way when they were little, being taught when they were kids. So you're going to have a husband or a wife or a boyfriend or girlfriend, and bam, you got a baby. And so now this is when you really start getting to know each other, is when you get that baby. I mean, before you thought you knew each other, but now this is the real deal, because now you're going to have the husband, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, depending on if you're married or not. But now you got a baby, and like I said, whether you're boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, or wife, is now you're gonna, you're gonna be switching that kid back and forth to, it's daddy's time to spend some time. We'll say like the son. Maybe you got a baby boy, and now this is when you're really gonna get to know more about each other, is because now you have a baby boy, and the first year you're going to have rules set up for that baby to keep the baby safe, right? I hope so. So, as the baby gets old enough and it starts to learn how to walk, starts to learn how to crawl, when they start crawling around and they start standing up, when they start getting into stuff, grabbing everything on the counter, some parents, they actually pick everything up, and that way then the child has nothing to get into. But then is the child learning anything? And then other parents will leave everything that they had on the counters or stands in their living room. So then the child has to learn, do not touch, do not do that, so then the child is growing through these stages of learning different things. So as you are a young, not that you're a young parent, but a new parent, that's how you're going to find out more about your husband, wife, boyfriend, girlfriend, is because now you have to come to an agreement as far as what the rules are going to be for the kids when they are growing up. Isn't this beautiful out here? So now I'm trying to get to the real main part, is when they get older, and they start going to school. If they go to school, most people send their kids to public school because that's what they were taught, is you're going to have where kids, say your kids have, your child has brothers and sisters, and as they get older and they're growing, like my kids were a couple years apart. So my daughter was the oldest, my son was the youngest, and they're going to go, most of the time parents are not going to want to see their kids fight. But then there are those out there that encourage to beat each other up, they like a wrestling match, like they're on TV, and they might be the type of parent that's like, yeah, hit them there, yes, do that, and so you do have different types of parents, and I don't know what kind of parent you are, whether you encourage your kids to fight or you discourage them to fight, or maybe you go back and forth, maybe there's sometimes you say, hey, enough of that, and then other times, hey, there's nothing wrong with kids having fun, and it's just playful stuff, but it's when it's really, it should be discouraged when your kids really are having a temper tantrum and they really, really want to cause hurt to their brother or their sisters. That is really when we really should, step in as parents and correct that situation, and so say if you have two sons, we'll say one is 16 years old and the other one is 10. Okay, you got two boys. Now, a lot of times jealousy will happen in the family with kids, no matter what sex. It could be a boy or girl, and depending on who's older, and there's so many different situations why, there's black sheep in the family, and then there's always the parent's pet, where that one never does anything wrong, even if the child is, parents might not see the wrong that they're doing, and everybody loves the one and can't stand the other, so every family more than likely has that in their family, some more noticeable than others. So what do you teach, like, the younger brother that's 10 years old when the big brother is jealous over the little brother, and where out of spite the big brother will, when the parents aren't around, maybe this happens a lot, where the parents will have the oldest one thinking, you're 16 years old, we're going to have you babysit your brother while we're gone. We're going to go, sometimes the parents will go on a short, like a store trip, and say, hey, we're just going to go to the store, you can babysit your brother. And then the kids will be alone with each other while the parents go to the store. And a lot of times parents are not aware of what's going on in the house, is that maybe this is the time, maybe the little brother tests the boundaries out as the big brother is babysitting, and where the big brother doesn't handle things right because the big brother doesn't know how to handle it, but where the big brother will beat the heck out of the younger brother to discipline the child, his brother, when the parents are not there. So now you got that, and that happens a lot with brothers and sisters, no matter if you got two sons, two daughters, or a boy and a girl. That happens a lot in different families, especially behind the scenes or even in front of the parents. So I'm not sure what kind of family members I'm talking to, or what kind of background that you came from, and there's some kids, they were brought up when they were growing up is to, Starlight knows this, is some kids are brought up as, hey, if somebody hits you, you are not allowed to hit back. Absolutely not. If I catch you hitting anybody back, if your brother hits you, you cannot hit him back. You cannot protect yourself. And then there's a cool thing. Starlight loving this stuff. This spider here, if I can zoom it in, is eating lunch. I don't think. Oh, there it is. So these spiders were all over on that trail. That's why it's two different insects here. But anyway, as far as the big brother beating the tar out of the little brother, what kind of parent are you? Are you the kind of parent that says, absolutely not, you're not doing that in this house? Or are you the parent that says, yes, kick them in the nuts, Did I say that out loud? Yes, I did. Where the father might encourage, or even the moms out there, hey, moms, moms are can be just as guilty as the guys were, because who knows what her background is. Maybe she was, the fighter in school, because that goes on. Not just boys have fights, is girls do too, depending on their background and what they were brought up with. So what kind of parent are you? Are you the kind of parent that says, if I catch you hitting your brother, even though, the big brother got away with it, you didn't see the big brother beating your son, your other youngest son, in the head, or kicking him, or doing this and that behind your back, but the only thing that you caught is the little brother hitting the big brother. And then the big brother is, later on laughing at the little brother, saying, haha, I freaking clocked you one earlier, and mom and dad, they freaking got on your ass, and or the little brother might threaten little brother and says, maybe the little brother does try to defend himself at times at home, and the big brother is really just pounds into the little brother and says, there, do that again and see what happens. So all kinds of stuff. Kids go to school and they have bullies in school, where, kids can get bullied at school. Maybe the kid wears funny looking clothes, comes from a poor family, doesn't have a really good education, where these bullies in school, they came from rich families possibly, or they could have came from a poor family. And a lot of times they will beat on little kids to make themselves feel better about themselves. So I don't know what kind of background you came from, and I'm trying to build this up as we watch the spider have dinner. It's just wrapping it up. How are you as an adult? And I have to say, as far as Starlight, I was raised up in not the right way. As I was brought up, if I ever defended myself, I'm going to get a beating later for that. So what kind of background did you come from? Were you told if you defend yourself that you're going to get time out, and a what for? When I say time out, I'm not saying about standing your nose in the corner. Absolutely not. Were you taught as a kid to never defend yourself, never to protect yourself, or were you that child that, your parents, there's all levels to this, because there's some parents that will, they have kids that are being bullied at school, and the kids tell their parents about it, and they cry and they get upset when they come home, and the kid could have had torn clothes or beat up and bruises, and the parents might say, what's going on? Where are these bruises? Because the parents are like, hey, we're not beating you up. How come you after a while, bruises don't show up right away. They show up a little bit after you've been beaten, so then the parents might notice these beat marks and questioning the kid, because a lot of times kids don't want to tell their parents. They're embarrassed. They don't know how the parents are going to react. But what kind of parents are you? Are you the kind of parents that says, hey, you know what, you go back to school, just stay away from them? A lot of parents will tell their kids that, just stay away, don't go near them. But that's not always the case in school. A lot of times the bully is going to chase that, your son around or your daughter, because it goes both ways. It's really important how you bring them up when they're younger. That way you can get them prepared when they get older as adults. So should you just say, hey, I'm not going to do anything about it, you got to figure it on your own? Or are you that supportive family that says, you know what, you got to protect yourself? Now, I'm not saying about going back with a knife, and because you really need to step in and talk to your kids about the right ways of defending yourself, even in the public school. And a lot of times with the public school, it's always the one that's getting beat on is the one that gets caught later on defending themselves, where the parents, or not the parents, but the school teachers or the principal or somebody at the school or the school aides normally catches when the one that's getting beaten at school, that one gets caught, of trying to defend themselves, and the other one that's doing the beating gets away. And, so a lot of times the school system will punish the one side and not the other, depending on what kind of family you are. If you're a rich family, and you might even have relatives in the school system, a lot of times you're gonna, the school system to say anything to certain parents in the school because of popularity, money, power, whatever the case may. I mean, it could be a lawyer that has kids, and they don't want to say anything to the lawyer, the father, because hey, it's a public school, So this does actually 100% happen in school systems, the public school, So I don't know how you bring up your kids. I don't know what you taught your kids, but it's really important to really teach them at a young age, step by step of what to do. If they're just name calling, you can teach them, what to do and what not to do. But if your kids are physically being beaten, a lot of times, not a lot of times, but sometimes, the parents might go in and talk to the teachers and say, hey, this particular son or this daughter is beating up on my kids, and I believe that is a good start to start off with, is at least to get involved. It's so important to get involved, listen to your kids, because, there's times that a lot of times, we are too busy as parents and we don't want to deal with these things because the confrontation that goes on in the school system, or even with those other parents, a lot of people might have fear, and they They might know the parent of the child that's the bully, you know, and they might be high class. They might have a lot of money. They might, you know, there's so many, you know, the positions that they are in. You know, they might have a certain job that they don't want to, you know, have any confrontation with this family. It might be, you know, your neighbor's kids, you know, that are being the bullies, you know, and you just want to live in peace. You don't want to really face these problems, but we really do need to face these problems when they come up. You know, this is what is going to teach your kids to say, you know what, I need to face this, not run away, you know, and that is what I'm trying to really try to work on as far as this video goes, is that we need to teach our children it's okay to protect yourself, but you got to teach them at a young age, because, you know, one of these days your kids are going to be adults, and, you know, they're going to be on their own. They're not going to have anybody with them, you know, to back them up or protect them, you know. And I'm making this video is because Starlight went through something yesterday, and because of that, it really was a big eye-opener, because I was brought up never to defend myself as a child, or I'm going to get it, you know. So I feared the spanking, you know. I never liked getting beat on my ass, you know. I couldn't stand it, but I knew that anytime I did get beat, at least, you know, I wouldn't do that for a while. Starlight might have gone back in round 2, thought I could get away with it this time, because I learned a little bit more, you know, the second time around, like, you know, you shouldn't do this, Starlight. And Starlight's, well, what did I learn? Well, I learned, yeah, that was kind of, you know, stupid what I did, because I wasn't thinking, and that's how I got caught. So then the next time around, I'm like, well, now I know not to do that particular thing again. So then I might go back out and try the same thing, but maybe get a little bit wiser on how I did it the first time, maybe kind of rearrange some things. You know, so that is how most of us are, is that, you know, yeah, that hurt, that my ass was red, I couldn't sit, you know, ouch, that really, you know. I would even, you know, as a kid, I would even find a mirror, you know, and wow, look at my butt, man, that butt is really beat red right now, because Starlight was being naughty, and I got disciplined with a good old stick, you know, with holes in it. So some of you, you know, might know what that's like when you were growing up, or some of you might have actually dealt with something way worse. You know, maybe you were beaten with your, you know, there's some long time ago, you know, it was more popular, not that it should be popular, to beat your kids in different forms, you know, but these days now parents are afraid to actually do any kind of disciplining with their kids, because they're afraid the kids are gonna, you know, blackmail their own parents. And, you know, so these days are a lot different. Not saying that that didn't happen a long time ago, but it's more popular these days, is kids blackmailing their parents. Shows how smart your kids are. So with bringing up your kids, you don't want to really, it's up to you what you're going to do, because you want to get them prepared for the real world when they get older, you know. And you shouldn't discipline them when they want to discipline themselves, you know, not discipline themselves, but you should not discipline them when they want to defend themselves from being hurt by somebody beating them, you know. But they need to be taught the right way, and how to, you know, how to handle all these situations. And you really should be there as a parent to talk them through and educate them. And if you don't know how and what to do, there's a lot of sites online of how to teach your kids, you know, to defend themselves from either being bullied. Whoops, I'm looking at my car. I'm just looking at something here. There's not too much to look at here. The trails are kind of not good right now, and I'm trying to stay in the shade, so Starlight's got to get in the shade here. So you really want to train up your children when they're little, you know, is to how to respond, you know, if their big brother, first, number one, if big brother or big sister is, you know, hey, we got big brother out in the world too, in the government, you know, big brother's always keeping an eye on us, is that, you know, number one, if you got, you know, a big brother or big sister that is picking on their little sisters and brothers, number one, you want to get a hold of that big brother or sister and have a talk with that child And, you know, there's ways that you can communicate with your child, the oldest one, and teach them how, you know, that there's consequences to this. And this is what, you know, Christians sometimes have a hard time with this, you know, because some people twist the word of God about sin and that, oh my, if you sin, you're going to go to hell. Well, that is a lie from the devil, you know, because Jesus already died on the cross for our sins. So when we sin, when we do something wrong, what you need to teach your kids, not that you're going to go to hell. You're not going to hell because Jesus already did, he already paid for that for us. But what you need to teach your kids is that there's consequences that happen when you do something like that or this or whatever it is. You know, teach them that, you know, in the house, hey, we have these laws. They have to have the rules and laws, rules in the house to keep them safe. You know, like playing with fire in a house, you know, that's a really good example as far as a do not do. Because why? Because the house can get on fire. You know, you could lose your home. Somebody could die and get hurt, you know, so there's rules to that. And, you know, and you got to explain these things because kids are going to be curious. They're going to get, and Starlight was playing with lighters when I was a kid, you know, all kinds of stuff. You know, I was sneaking in my room doing stuff. Nobody knew about it. You know, so if I was doing it, you know, that your kids might be looking around for, maybe they found a lighter, you know, as they were walking somewhere. Wow. You know, that's like gold to a little kid, you know, if they're walking around and they found a lighter and then they, wow, fire, you know, coming out. It's almost like caveman, you know, first time ever seeing fire come out of a lighter, you know, so kids are very curious. Starlight always was getting in trouble out of curiosity, you know, Curious George out there. So remember that your kids are going to be curious about different things, but you really need to have these rules set, you know, and a lot of times the rules don't get set in our family's life until somebody did something and we realize, oh no, we got to make a rule for that now because we didn't think of that. We didn't think that our son was going to beat up on the little son or the daughter is going to beat on the little daughter. Most of the time that's how it is. Sometimes it could be reversed though. Sometimes the younger brother could be beating up on the older brother. Yes, how that does happen. You know, so it doesn't matter who's the oldest or who's the youngest of who's getting beat. It's the one that's stronger and tougher and being a bully. You know, so after you witness it, then you're like, okay, we're making a new rule now is you're not allowed to beat up your brother. Now it's okay to have like a fun time when you just want to wrestle and toughen each other up and like play time, like beating, you know, but not to actually, I want to kill you kind of beating. You know, there's a difference. But there's some parents out there, I've witnessed this in my life, is that there are some parents out there, believe it or not, they encourage their oldest sons or their younger sons to beat up on the weaker child, whether it's a girl or a boy, you know, and it shouldn't be encouraged in that way of to really just to, you know, sometimes the fathers or mothers could actually not like the one child. Would you believe that? Not like the one child and want the one child to actually beat the child so the parent doesn't have to do it. So there's so many things that go on behind the scene in people's houses, believe it or not, because these things do happen. Starlight has witnessed a lot of things in her life. But what you need to teach your kids is, you know, and they got laws out here, and I've heard a story not too long ago, and I don't agree with the laws that the government has out here for us. You know, there's some things in the Bible, an eye for an eye, a tooth for a tooth kind of thing. And that's more or less like if somebody did something really, if somebody, let me see, beat you with a stick, you know, and hurt you really bad, but you're alive, and you try to defend yourself and you took a gun and shot them, well, you're the one in trouble, even though you did not attack them, they attacked you and all that. So that is, if I got that right, that's pretty much how the law goes, is like, you know, whatever they did unto you is what you can do back unto them. But if you're still alive and you made it and you want to revenge and do something back, that's where you got to really watch out and know. But to me, if somebody came in your house and they came to try to kill your family and your kids and your wife, or rape your kids or rape your wife or rape any of them. I'll tell you what, my rule is do whatever it takes to protect your family. You know, I wouldn't even care what the government says. I'm going to protect my kids. I'm going to protect, but that is all up to you on what, you know, there's so many people out in the world. I keep on seeing it more and more where Christians like, hey, you know, the government says that you can't do this and you can't do that. You know, you can't see it, you know, but Starlight's got her middle finger up because I'm all about God's laws. And I'm all about my self-love. And, you know, I'm about protecting myself. And like I said yesterday, I had, you know, there was a guy that was up to no good on a hiking trail yesterday out in the middle of nowhere. And he was up to no good. What am I supposed to do? Just let him have his own way? You know, of course, I know he wasn't thinking with the right head because, you know, it's like, okay, you know, like how hard is it for a man to, you know, did he even have a condom with him? Or was he just going to, you know, do his thing and just think he was going to get away? Or what, you know, I wasn't going to let him have that time or chance to even think about that stuff. I'm like, no, man, I'm going to protect myself. I never protected myself my whole life. But I'll tell you what, yesterday I was like Rambo out in the woods, man. If anybody came jumping on Starlight yesterday, I would have been like, a little girl like me, you'd be surprised the little power I have in my little body, you know. So, you know, guys, I got bust on you, but really, you know, don't be messing with those females out there. And I'm not saying any of you guys that are watching my YouTube channel, but, you know, you don't know what these girls have gone through in their life. You know, that I was ready to draw some blood yesterday. I didn't, you know, I seen a couple men as I was getting off the trail, and I told them, hey, there's this dude out here. This is what I got a picture of him. You know, I took pictures of him. I tricked him. I deceived him. I will do whatever it takes these days. Now, when I was younger, I didn't know any better. I had a lot of horrible stuff happen to me when I was younger, but not now. No way. I am going to defend, you know, because now I'm a new person. I'm not the same person I was. You know, I'm not going to go by my mom's rules and say, hey, you know, you can't defend yourself, or I'm going to beat you up. Hey, my mom's not around now. You know, not that she's passed away. It's just that I'm on my own now, you know. I don't care what my parents taught me when I was a kid. I know some of you might be offended. Oh my, you shouldn't talk that way about your mom. But you know what? No, this is my life and my body. I am on my own, and I am not going to have a man or a female attack me for no reason. I am going to defend myself, and that is what this video is about. You got to raise up your kids in a way. Beep. You really got to raise up your kids in a way that they know how to defend themselves. Dads, moms, it doesn't matter who you are, whether you're the mom or the dad, but, you know, teach your kids, absolutely not, you know, because you let other people beat you, or like with Starlight, if I got raped yesterday out in the woods, you know. And the laws are so messed up because, like, I was talking to somebody the other day. I said, yeah, you know, I could go to the cops and show them the picture of what the guy looks like. But, you know, the cops aren't going to do anything because nothing happened. You know, even though I said, hey, he was up to no good. You know, there's no prevention laws out here. You know, I couldn't prove anything. Even though I took a picture, that doesn't mean anything. You know, and what the officer would have been telling Starlight is, well, you know, you being a single girl, you should have somebody with you. Well, if that was the case, I would never go anywhere and enjoy life. You know, my family's not out here and where I am right now. So, you know, that's why we, as, you know, humans, need to protect ourselves. I don't care if you're a guy or a girl, you know. Like, I used to have weapons on me, and I don't anymore because they disappeared or something happened to them. But, you know, like I said, I was out in the woods yesterday and I found a weapon, and I was like, man, I will freaking knock you. I wasn't kidding, you know. I've been keeping myself clean and pure for years, almost 7 years now, you know, of keeping myself pure. I'm not going to have a man defile me and walk away and act like he, you know, is getting away with shit. No, I'm going to stop it before. You know, don't, you know, a lot of women get afraid of defending themselves. Don't be afraid. Even guys, you know, a guy that I talked to yesterday is that he's kind of afraid to go in the woods where I was, and here I'm a female, and here I am again out in the woods. I am not gonna stop going in the woods. You know, I'm not gonna stop living my life. but I am going to protect myself. And that's what this video is about. It's so important to not let people run over top of you, because, it takes a long time to heal from that stuff. I've had a lot of crazy stuff happen to me growing up throughout my life, and like I said, I don't agree with the laws that they have, out in the world, where a lot of times the cops do not do nothing. They will not do anything until after you've been already affected in one way or another. That is how that goes. I've made so many police calls, where to the point that I don't even want to make reports anymore, because like I said, I took a picture of the guy, but I know it's not going to do any good bringing that into the officers, because it's just the way it goes. That's how it goes. They're not going to say anything. They're not going to do nothing about it. Did the guy do anything? No, but he was up to it. He was thinking about it. He was around me. If he wanted to talk to me, he could have just came right straight to me, but that's not what he did. He could have said, hey, I seen you out here. I just wanted to say hello, talk to you or whatever. But that's not how the man was out in the woods. And if you're out in the middle of nowhere like that, you better think twice. Don't let them get too close. Have a plan. Think ahead. And I did. You get close. I did. I had a red shirt on, and I took that baby off, and boom, because it stood out. That red he would have seen the red. So anyway, I know this video is long. I didn't mean for this video, but there's so much on this topic. As really, I wasn't planning on going this long. I wasn't planning on talking about kids, but this is where it all starts. Is what are you teaching your kids? Are you teaching them hey, just let them do this stuff to you, because that's a part of the matrix. Some of you don't even believe in the matrix, but that, I'll tell you what, with, with my mom saying, hey, if you, Starlight, touches anybody, because I used to have a relative that used to yank me around by my hair or my head, pulled me around like a rag doll, and I was told, you better never lay your hand on her, even though it was witnessed or whatever, and that is not how we should bring up our children, so that's a part of the matrix, is that we've been under this program and we've been told some funky stuff that is not right. And you have to sort it out as an adult to what is right or wrong, and God wants us to protect ourselves. God doesn't want us just to lay there and let people do whatever to us. So make sure you're teaching your kids, how to protect, how to handle those situations. I could go on and on and on and on and on this topic, really. It is so important to teach your kids when they're little, while they're growing up at the right ages, on how to protect themselves from but like a good part of the stuff to, to make police reports after, and it shouldn't be after. That's the whole point of all this. It shouldn't be after. Teach your kids how to protect themselves so something does not happen to them, because that will be something that will stick with them the rest of their life. So I do love you, and I'm not going to say sorry about the video being so long, because it is so important. It's just the ones that really need the help, they're going to listen through this whole video to get this kind of help. So protect your family, really. Protect your kids. Guys are supposed to be the protectors and providers, and but like Starlight was a single mom. It was my job, to protect me and my kids, So women or men, whoever you are, if you're single, it's your job to protect your kids, and yourself, of course. You'd have to make sure you protect yourself first, so that way you could protect them, and, always be a step ahead. Don't put yourself in situations like Starlight did a lot when I was younger, So now I'm being wise, and I'm grateful and I'm thankful for the archangels for keeping me safe and guiding me yesterday, so I'm not going to stop going hiking. A lot of people would like, well, Starlight, you shouldn't be out there. Well, I'm sorry, but this is Starlight. I'm going to go out in nature. I'm not going to live my life of being afraid of everything, because I'm going to learn, I'm not going to let people run over top or beat me or do anything to me. I'm going to stand up for myself. I didn't do it before, but I am now. So anyway, I really hope this video helps you and helps to even men, you know, there's some men that could be more afraid than Starlight is. So you gotta stand up and protect yourself no matter what circumstances you are in, and avoid those areas that are, you know is some toxic, funky energy going on. So anyway, I do love you so much. This is Starlight. Whoops. You can give this video a thumbs up. You could subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can leave a message down below. Beep, beep, beep. Do, do, do. You can also ring the notification bell. That way, I got a mosquito biting me. It's dinner time for the mosquitoes, and I thought it was dinner time for me. Besides pushing the notification bell, you can also share my videos, please. Share. These are really important, of ways to, I didn't say ways of protecting you, but that you should, at all costs, really, really, send a message to those people that, hey, you mess with me, I'm not going down without a fight, and that's the kind of attitude you need to have, Christian or not Christian, Some people, they're, because they have a certain belief system, and I can't tell you what to believe and what not to, but you really want to protect yourself. I do love you. I mean this with all my heart, is that you got to keep yourself safe and protect yourself and your family. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at 1995 Starlight, or on Facebook, and that is Kathy with a K Dingman. So anyway, I do love you. This is Starlight. This is Starlight. Love, light, and peace.